But this is the final quarterback prospect rankings. Obviously, there will probably be adjustments, but there's not going to be a full quarterback prospect ranking blog post. This is the final one. So at least for this season, we'll obviously have more to come. Don't worry about that. But the others category, we got Max Brosmer from Minnesota. They played in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, 24-10 win against Virginia Tech, 211, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Brady Cook against against Iowa in the Music City Bowl, 2 touchdowns, 287 through the air with a bunch of backup receivers pretty much, and 54 yards on the ground as they came back and beat Iowa. Didn't really play a whole lot this year. Same goes for Graham Mertz, who didn't play in the bowl game, but he had 791 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, also had a rushing touchdown. Cam Miller from North Dakota State. You look at the playoff run that they had. He threw for 274, 3 tuds against Abilene Christian. He threw for 2 touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown against Mercer, 3 touchdowns and 1 touchdown on the ground against South Dakota State. In the championship game, 199 through the air, 2 touchdowns, 121 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns there, as well as they beat the number 1 seeded Bobcats 35-32. Finished the year with 33 passing touchdowns, 4 picks with 12 rushing touchdowns as well. And then Tyler Show from Louisville, he's number 11, I would guess you could say on this list. He's had a really good Senior Bowl from what I can tell. He has just in practice over the games this weekend, but he did not play in the bowl game against Washington. They did win the game, but on the season, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. Good size. He's moved around a lot. Remember, he was at Oregon and then Texas Tech, and then Oregon and then Texas Tech. I was thinking of who's the dude? Blake Shappen. I was thinking of him down at Mississippi State. He transferred from Baylor to Mississippi State, but he transferred from Oregon to Texas Tech to now Louisville, and he's number 11, but you can make a case for him being number 10. But number 10 is Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard had a very interesting season. I guess you could say, you look at the start of the year and see what Notre Dame was. You had that win against Texas A&M, big-time win against a ranked opponent. Riley Leonard versus Connor Wegman. Everybody's talking about it, and you go and win. Kyle Field's one of the toughest places to play. You go and win. Next week, play Northern Illinois, you lose. At home. So you could beat A&M in one of the toughest college stadiums to play in college football. You win. You come back at home against Northern Illinois, a MAC school, who didn't end up really doing anything this year. Like, this wasn't Jordan Lynch, Northern Illinois. No. This is 2024, 2025 Northern Illinois, who finished, I think, 6-6, 7-5, somewhere around there. And you lost. 62-yard field goal blocked. At that point in time, Notre Dame's college football playoff dream seemingly was done and dusted, and Riley Leonard did not have a great start to the year. But as the season grew, he got more and more confident as a passer, which is something we've been looking out for because he's a great runner. He's a great athlete. Absolute dog. Teammates rally around him. Tough as hell. You look at his last season at Duke. The dude is absolutely tough as nails. He battled through so many injuries to try and stay on the field, and ultimately his body just failed him. And this year he was able to stay healthy. And he finished the year with a pretty staggering 906 rushing yards with 17 touchdowns. And on the season passing, 2,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 8 picks. With some good performances in the playoffs. The Indiana game didn't really start off the greatest. Balls bounced up in the air on I think the second play of the game. Balls bounced right up in the air, and he throws an interception. But they were able to bounce back from that. Notre Dame just controlled the game. There wasn't really a lot of throws that you could look at from Riley Leonard in this game and go like, oh, wow, this was a great, great throw. He did have a nice little jump pass in there. And he had a really good, I guess he did have one to Jordan Faison down the middle of the field, 44 yards. Step him in a crowded pocket on second down, delivers a really nice ball, just a yard short of the end zone. Unfortunate that it didn't result in a touchdown, but that was really the only play he needed to make in that game. If you look at his total numbers in that game against Indiana, 201 yards passing, a touchdown, interception, also had a rushing touchdown. Nice little 1-yard rushing touchdown in the game. Notre Dame, again, just controlled the game, pretty much dominated it. 27-17 is a little fair to Indiana on that one. And you look at the game against Georgia, did not pass the ball great, only 90 yards through the air, but he beat them on the ground. Georgia had tried to have a spy on him, and it just didn't work because they would get the running back out there, motion tight ends across formation, stuff like that, and their linebacker would get out of the pocket, and Riley Leonard would find that hole, and he would cut up field for a nice 15, 20-yard game, damn near every single time. Now, he did take a really not great sack before halftime, but he was able to pick up the yards back on like the next play or 2 plays later or something like that. And Notre Dame, it was 3-3, with like less than a minute to go. They get a field goal, make it 6-3. They force Georgia to fumble the ball away, and then Notre Dame scores. Riley Leonard hits Bo Collins for an easy touchdown. Not Bo Collins. Yeah. Bo Collins. 27 seconds left. Most of the tight end across. You clear people out. Safety bites down on the fake. You have an opening in the back of the secondary for Bo Collins. Easy touchdown. So it's 13-3 now. And then opening kickoff, you return it back for a touchdown. Now it's 20-3. Game's done. Game is pretty much done. But this game also showed the kind of dog Riley Leonard is. 3rd and 7, 6 minutes go, in the fourth quarter, something like that. You're done. You're up by 13 points with 6 minutes to go. You don't need to be doing this. And he jumps over people to pick up the first down. He dives over people. He puts his body aside and you go like, you know what? I'm going to get this first down for my team. And that's why his teammates rally around him. And then against Penn State, second round, you throw two interceptions. You throw two interceptions in this game, but 223 yards passing, touchdown in there, 35 yards on the ground as well, the rushing touchdown. I think this was his best game throwing the football. He had 2 interceptions in this game. I know. You look at the other 2 games, he had none against Georgia. He had 1 against Indiana, and he had 2 against Penn State. But I thought he made some really strong throws throughout the course of the game. He had a nice little 32-yard gain to Mitchell Evans that he hit on a back shoulder throw. Those are you want to see your quarterbacks hit on back shoulder throws. And Riley Leonard, the interception, the first one, stepped in the pocket, just sailed it. It happens. Just absolutely sailed the ball. Hit Aeneas Williams on a nice little, I don't even know what you want to call it, just a fade route, I guess, out of the backfield. He motioned out of the backfield, I should say. But great throw from Leonard over the top of the shoulder of the defender, matched up on a linebacker. Pretty easy completion in the grand scheme of things. He would connect with Jaden Greathouse for a 17-yard game while getting hit. Greathouse, great catch on the play, skying over a defender to make the catch. Riley Leonard getting hit, putting the ball in a place where only his receiver could get it. And the second interception of the game was kind of just a stuck spot. He locked in on one receiver, and the safety was playing over top, and he was closing in, so you can't float it in there because it's going to get picked off. So you have to put this ball more on the line, but with the defender dropping back, the D-end dropping back, when the ball got put on a line, he picked it off. And since he made up his mind that he was going to throw to that spot prior to the ball being snapped, that's where it kind of got messy, because I think regardless of what happened or what kind of throw he decided to make, it was probably getting intercepted, which is a little unfortunate, but you can't really make those kind of throws there. And then you have this throw to Jaden Greathouse. Defender just falls over. Really easy throw for Leonard. In stride, touchdown. And yeah, they come back from 10 points down. They're down 10-0 before halftime. Win this game. 27-24, I believe, was the final. You get a matchup against Ohio State. 18-play drive to kick off the game. 90% of it's running. I think he had the final 4 carries on the drive. Throwing up apparently on the sideline. Passing out. Dog. Absolute dog. 9-minute drive to kick the game off. 18-play, 9-minute drive. That is 10-minute drive. That is ridiculous. Do that at the start of the game. Riley Leonard didn't get going, I guess you could say, until the second half. And when I say second half, I mean late in the second half, but you could say that about Notre Dame. I mean, they were down 31-7. Game was done. Hits Jaden Greathouse for a 34-yard touchdown and make the 2-point conversion as well. More of a play by Greathouse to get away, breaks a couple tackles from the defender, but I like the play from Leonard. It's a nice, easy throw, but hey, in this type of situation where you just need your quarterback to get going, you need to have those types of plays. And if Greathouse is able to break some tackles, that makes it even better. But we had a play, again, to Greathouse, common theme here, where 3rd and 9, defender in his face, he's able to step in the pocket. Doesn't matter what the protection is. Doesn't matter if the pressure's in his face or not. He delivers a strong ball down the near sideline for a nice 30-something yard gain for a first down. Get him down to the near the 50-yard line. Then he hits Bo Collins for a 12-yard gain. Then you got the touchdown to Jaden Greathouse a little bit later. Nice 30-yard score. Dot is the best way I could put it. Just an absolute dot. That's what you want to see from your quarterback. Hitting those deep throws down the sideline. One-on-one coverage. I want to see you hit that. I want to see you hit that. And he did. And overall, I think in this playoff, Riley Leonard definitely had some ups and downs. He had some great plays running the ball. He had some pretty remarkable throws in there as well. But there were some plays where you kind of just it's not all clicking yet. I want Riley Leonard to be so much higher on this list. I really do. And I think he's got a very high ceiling if he gets drafted to the right team. And that's always the most important thing, is getting drafted by the right team and getting put in the right situation for your career moving forward. I think Riley Leonard's got a very, very good skill set to use at this next level. I saw some people saying that he was Taysom Hill or something like that. I'm not going that far. I'm not going that, because I love Riley Leonard as a player. I loved him his first year starter at Duke, where he had 20 passing touchdowns. I loved him last year. This year was a lot of fun this year as well. Sorry. And he definitely grew with the season. That was what was key. You want to see growth. If he starts off bad, how does he look in November? Like, we can judge him however we want early in the season, but we want to see him get better and better as the season go on, and you could say he did that. He didn't put up mind-numbing numbers or anything like that through the air. Running the ball, again, over 900 yards rushing is pretty impressive, but through the air, I don't really care if he put up a decent, 45,000 yards or something like that. No, he put up a good amount of yards, good amount of touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over as much. That's what you wanted to see from Leonard. That's what you really wanted to see. And that's why he's at number 10. Number 9 is Curtis Rourke. Dog as well. Apparently played this season with a torn ACL. That's damn impressive. He can make some ridiculous throws, and he did throughout the course of the season. Obviously missed the game against Washington, but 29 touchdowns, 5 picks. Threw a pick in this game against Notre Dame. Obviously only played one game this bowl season. Not a great interception. Tried to throw the ball pretty much in the triple coverage. Overthrows the receiver. Gets picked off, I think, by Xavier Watts. I can't remember who exactly was picked off by. But regardless, not a great throw. But to get set up with that chance to throw the interception on 3rd and 14, great throw down the sideline. Great throw to Elijah Surratt. Curtis Rourke is not afraid of contact. He throws really, really good back shoulder balls. And one of his touchdowns later, 23-yard touchdown with 25 seconds left, great back shoulder throw. If we're looking at back shoulder throwers in this draft class, Curtis Rourke is the best. That was Michael Penix last year. The best back shoulder thrower in the draft class was Penix. Ironically, it's another Indiana quarterback that wears number 9. Penix obviously did it at Washington, but former Indiana quarterback, that's all I'm really caring about. But Rourke had a great season. I don't think anybody was really expecting the Indiana to have this kind of season. I know nobody was expecting Indiana to have this kind of season. And Rourke put up really good numbers, put some really good displays, made a lot of really big throws for Indiana throughout the course of the season. I don't know where he'll go. He's not necessarily the most mobile guy in the world. He's got the size, he's got the arm talent, clearly. But the knee injury coming off the season where he pretty much played the whole year off the injury, some teams will look at that as that's what we want our quarterback to be, tough as hell and stuff like that. Some teams might mark that off a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see, but I thought Rourke had a great year, but he comes in at number 9. Number 8 is Dillon Gabriel. Rose Bowl game, only one game, didn't do well. It didn't do well. He didn't play horrifically. He got hit pretty much every time he snapped the ball. The second he snapped the ball, there's an Ohio State defender in his face. It didn't matter what he did. He could have rolled out to the left, right. It didn't freaking matter. He was going to get swapped, and he did. I think he got sacked 8 times in this game. They might as well have been in the backfield when he snapped the ball. When the running back staying right next to the quarterback, that's pretty much what Zach Sawyer, JTT, all those guys were doing the entire game. But despite that, and despite Oregon getting their cheeks clapped in this game, he was still able to make some plays. And though he's not the biggest guy in the world, he still is able to stand tall in the pocket and deliver throws when pressure's all around him. And he can deliver strong throws down the field. He doesn't have a big time arm or anything like that, but he's fairly mobile. And that's what you want when you're in pressure like that. How can you create plays? What do you do off script? I want to see you able to scramble around the pocket, deliver throw off pitch, I guess, or off kilter down the field. And you look at this play, 3rd and 22, he rolls out to the left after Jack Sawyer's, again, in the backfield before the ball is, and he's able to hit Justice Lowe for a 21-yard gain. They pick up the 4th down conversion the very next play. Great to see from them. And then you got this throw to Trayshawn Holden across the middle of the field, 3rd and 5. Again, this is what we're talking about. Strong throw with pressure around him. He doesn't care. He's only 5'11", if that. I saw a pretty funny thing. They said he threw the ball 75 miles an hour or something at the Senior Bowl. He didn't. He just didn't. But it's a cool thing he did. I saw Spencer Petras throw a ball 600 miles an hour, actually. So that was pretty impressive, but he just didn't do that, did he? But it's funny to think that he did. He would connect with Trayshawn Holden a little bit later. 27-yard touchdown. Again, standing tall in the pocket with pressure around him. Hits Trayshawn Holden in stride. Touchdown. Not the way he wanted to end the season. Not the way Oregon wanted to end the season. He was a Heisman finalist, though. Finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy race, even though I don't agree with him being 3rd. That's fine. You were the starting quarterback for the only undefeated team at the FBS level, and you put up really solid numbers. So, makes sense. But Gabriel, this game was not great, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. 2 touchdowns. He went 28, 29 for 44 or something like that, 41. He put up good numbers against an explosive Ohio State team that was absolutely reaming them the entire time. That's where the kind of the catch-22 is. You get a first-round bye. That's all fine and dandy. But Ohio State's just coming off an absolute high after beating Tennessee at home by 40 points. So now they're going in the Rose Bowl off that high, and you're not played. Like, sure, you're resting people, but you don't have that momentum, and Ohio State just carried that momentum into that game, and they wiped the floor with Oregon. Clear as day. Sucks, but that's just what happened, and that's the interesting thing with the College Football Playoff and what they could look at moving forward. But Gabriel comes in at 8. Those Big Ten championship performance was really good against Penn State as well. Again, not the biggest guy in the world. Doesn't have the strongest arm in the world either, but he's able to make plays off kilter. He doesn't care how much pressure's in his face. He's going to get tall. Like Drew Brees, remember back in the day? Drew Brees would stand on his tiptoes and tilt his head back to throw the ball downfield. Drew Brees wasn't a big guy either. Drew Brees couldn't make a ton of plays off kilter, but that's not what he needed to do. That's not what he was great at. He was great at everything else. He was deadly accurate, had a great arm as well despite having shoulder surgery. But Dillon Gabriel does not care about pressure. Dillon Gabriel, you can't really throw anything new at Dillon Gabriel. You can't. He's been in college for so damn long. You can't do that. He's played in multiple different conferences. Like, the dude has played every single brand of defense you could throw at him. I don't know where he'll go, but I think that experience, that the statistical numbers that he had, like, he was a great college quarterback. I don't know what his NFL ceiling is. I think he's a good quarterback, but we'll see where he ends up going. But I have him at number 8 on this list. Number 7 is Quinn Ewers. He had a pretty interesting playoff. He had a pretty interesting year, to be 100% honest. I mean, you look at that first game against Clemson, 17-24, 202, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but Texas just dominated the run game. Like Jane Blue and Blue and Wisner, 292 yards and 4 touchdowns between them. Blue had 146 yards himself. Like, Texas just ran the shit out of the ball. And if you looked at the box score, not the box score, but the defensive stats prior to the game, and you go like, Clemson's defense is pretty good. Ooh, their run defense is trash. Their total defense was fine. Run defense was trash. And that's how you kind of have to balance that out. Like, I could have Quinn Ewers throw for 300 yards, but the run game is dominant in this. This should work. So I'm going to take that. But he had a nice little 43-yard play to Matthew Golden to kick things off in the game. Or not kick things off. It was late in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter. But decent throw. Kind of floated it in there. Maybe if he puts a little bit more on it, maybe Matthew Golden's going to the end zone. But again, pressure in his face. Still able to deliver a decent ball down the field. Big time game there for Golden. First interception came a little bit later, and it was just unfortunate. Just unfortunate. He tried to hit DeAndre Moore on a little slant route, and it went out of his hands. And it just, yeah. Or not like an out and in route. Not a slant route, but an out and in route. And bounced off his hands, landing in the arms of the defender. Not Ewers' fault. It just sucks. Shit happens like that sometimes. And then a little bit later, second quarter, he would have a very nice ball to Gunnar Helm. 19-yard touchdown, 28 seconds left in the half. Great throw. Great seam shot from your quarterback. Safety over top, putting enough on it to get it over the top of the safety, taking enough on it, off of it, so it doesn't go out of the back of the end zone. And yeah, just a great throw. Solid game from Ewers. The game against Arizona State, I thought he played a lot better. But the problem was he had 3 touchdowns in the game. 2 of them came in overtime. And I thought they were good throws in overtime, but 322, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. They played 2 overtimes, sorry. So the stats a little skewed here, but regardless, I thought Ewers played well. Look at the first drive of the game. They traveled 77 yards in 2 plays. And now, he did hit a 54-yard pass to Matthew Golden. That was more Golden making play after the catch. I mean, it was about a 12-yard completion, 13-yard completion to Matthew Golden if we're just looking at where the ball was thrown and where it was caught. But great throw, finding the gap in the defense, safety's over top, not leading Golden up the field, throwing it more on his body. So he comes back to the ball, and he has enough time to adjust himself, get back upfield, and Golden's able to make a big-time play on that. And the touchdown pass to DeAndre Moore, great throw. Just, again, finding that little gap. Safety has enough time to make a play on it. If you throw that thing too far out in front, he has a chance to maybe pick the ball off, maybe take Moore's head off. Doesn't matter. But it was just a really solid throw from Ewers. Very, very solid throw. Look at the fourth quarter. He didn't really do a whole lot after that for a while, but he had a very nice fade ball to Matthew Golden down the near sideline in the fourth quarter. That would go for a decent game. I think it was on 3rd and 10 or something. He has interception. Not a great throw. Not great. He just let his receiver out to die, pretty much. Just let him out to die. That's the best you can say about it. He just killed him. Absolutely killed him. Receiver had no idea the defender was coming in to take his head off, but no one bitched about that play. No one bitched and moaned about that being targeted, but we heard about the other one earlier. But well, that's another story for a different time. That game's done and gone. But not a great throw from Ewers. Just not great. I think it's the best way to describe it. He didn't see the second safety or second defender, and it didn't matter if the second defender was there, but because the first defender picked it off, but he didn't get enough on the ball. Ends up getting intercepted. They had a chance to win the game in regulation with a field goal that would obviously get missed, but he had a really nice ball to Ryan Wingo for 27 yards. You look at overtime, very nice wheel route throw to Gunnar Helm. On the move, I guess you could say, stepping up in the pocket, delivers it in stride. Solid game. Solid game from Quinn Ewers. Again, 322 through the air, 3 touchdowns. Not a great pick, but still 3 touchdowns in the game. And then you got the game against Ohio State. Former team against his former roommate, Jack Sawyer. 283, 2 tuds, 1 interception. Also the fumble that ended up pretty much sealing the game. Or not pretty much, it just did seal the game. It was 21-14. Fumble the ball, scoop and score, touchdown, 28-14, game done. Sucks that it happened that way. Throw a pick at the end of the game as well is not really ideal. But nice little rollout play. Hits Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden, great one-handed catch. Igbenogsen's pulling back his hand. Still able to make a great concentrated one-handed catch. He had a couple of nice wheel routes to the running backs as well. Blew with 2 receiving touchdowns this game. This one came right before halftime to tie the game up at 7. 18-yard passing touchdown. Really well thrown. Nothing like crazy difficult about this throw. But again, it's a throw you want to see your quarterback make. And he made it. So you just want to see him continue to make those kind of throws. Nice 14-yard pickup to Wisner when, again, this play was a little unnecessary because he did a no-look thing. He didn't need to do no-look. He was getting tackled, and Wisner just staying next to him. He didn't need to no-look that. He tried to style it out, make it look cool. It wasn't that cool. I take that. I'm lying. The play was cool. It didn't need the extra sauce, I guess you could say, added. That was the no-look was a little unnecessary because he was standing right next to him. Obviously, you can no-look that. You would hope so anyways. But great awareness from Ewers. Jokes aside, great awareness from Ewers to get that ball up to Wisner before getting his knee hitting the ground. The awareness to know what the situation is, knowing I have my running back right there because I'm going to no-look this thing. I got to get my highlight for SportsCenter if we win this thing. So I'm going to no-look it. And he picks up 14 yards and a first down on 3rd and 10. And then a few plays later, another wheel route, defender in his face, easy touchdown to Blue. Defender's coming running in his face, comes off the edge. And receiver Gunnar Helm, I guess, sucks the outside defender in. Really easy throw, really easy touchdown. And then later in the game, Caleb Downs would pick him off. 44 seconds left. Ewers just floated in there. I don't know what he was trying to do. The quadruple coverage, triple coverage, whatever you want to call it. Not a great spot, but I guess you're going to lose the game anyway, so might as well try to make something happen. I don't know what that was. That's not really making something happen, but he tried it, I guess. But Ewers comes in at number 7. I think this playoffs this year was all right. I think the Arizona State game was his best game. I know it was the statistical performance in there as well. It was obviously the best out of the 3 games. Clemson, just an easy game because they just ran the shit out of the ball. Interception, not his fault. Great touchdown pass to Gunnar Helm. Ohio State game, not ideal. A couple wheel routes in there made it look really nice. He had that ball we talked about to Matthew Golden with the one-handed catch. Great. That was his worst game, I would say. You look at you could look at the numbers and all that stuff, but from watching it, I would rank it Arizona State, Clemson, Ohio State. That's how I would rank it. And Ewers has, I agree with his decision to come out this year. I do. I'm not extremely high on Quinn Ewers, as you may have already guessed at this point in time. I'm not the highest on Quinn Ewers. But if you look at next year's class, is he going to be able to do anything that boosts his stock more next year in a class that is much better than this year's? Players like Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier have decided to go back to school. So those are your guys we're going to be competing with this year. Now those guys aren't there. And not only that, you've got Nico, you've got Arch Manning, you've got Sellers. You've got so many other quarterbacks that I can think of that you're going to be competing with for draft spots next year. So take this one and go with the fact that you were the starting quarterback that got Texas to back-to-back semifinal appearances. That's big. We all joke about Sam Ehlinger doing the whole we're back thing, but Ewers was the quarterback that really helped them get to that point. I'm not saying he was the main cog in Texas being as good as what they were. This year, their defense was elite. Jody Barron was the Jim Thorpe Award winner. They had great players on defense. Last year, their D-line was immense. Look at Devondre Campbell. You look at, or Devondre Sweat, sorry. You look at Byron Murphy. Like, they had a great defensive line. Like, Texas has had some great players, and Ewers is fairly limited, I think, in what he can do. But when everything's clicking, he can make throws. The floating stuff has been a problem since he first got to Texas. The injuries are a lot of a concern because he's missed significant time in each of the last 3 seasons at Texas. That's not ideal, but he's a decent runner. He improved to that massively last year. You look at his first year at Texas to last year, that was a massive jump in regards to his athleticism and how much effort he put in the offseason to lose weight and gain speed. I think it was very impressive. I'm not as high as on Ewers as some other people out there are, but I do think he's a good quarterback. I think he's fine. I don't know what round he's looking at this year, but I do think this year was a better idea than going out next year. And the number 5 and 6, I've toyed around with this one 1,000 different ways. I'll just tell you both of them are. So at number 6, I have Kyle McCord. Number 5, I have Will Howard. And I've rotated this back 1,000 freaking times because Kyle McCord put up some great throws and great numbers against Washington State in the Holiday Bowl. He had 5 touchdowns. He had 453. Every single throw you can think of, he pretty much made throughout the course of the game. I mean, that's what happens. You throw the ball 34 times, but he made some ridiculous throws throughout the course of this game. He really did. Like, you look at the I think it was not the first drive of the game. Maybe it was the first drive of the game. I can't remember what their exact drive totals were. Again, it's been a while since I've gone back and fully watched these games. But the back shoulder throws on the first drive, first or second, their first touchdown drive of the game. Let's just put it like that. First touchdown drive of the game to Pena. Beautiful back shoulder throw. And he had another one earlier in the drive as well. And you look at his touchdown throw to Gadsden in the end zone as well. Great throw. Leading him into the end zone. He'd have another rollout pass to, I think, Gadsden on a little wheel route. We'll talk about that one here in a little bit. But, yeah, he hit Gadsden down the hash marks in between 2 defenders. Like we talked about finding that gap in the defenders while getting hit. Like if you paused it when Gadsden catches the ball, you're like, oh, he's got space in there. But there's 4 Washington State's defenders around him. Like he might himself be open, but those windows aren't very big. And those defenders can close those windows quickly. And if you throw that ball short, it's a different category. If you throw that ball long, it's a different category. Lead him inside, it's wrong. Outside, no, it has to be right on him. And McCord makes a great throw on 3rd and 10 while getting hit. And then here's the touchdown pass to Gadsden. 13 seconds left in the first half. And it's not a rollout. I was wrong on the rollout part, but it's like a fake pitch rollout. But there's not a lot of room to work with. And he makes a great throw. Zips it in there to Gadsden for the touchdown. Hits Daryl Gill for a 50-yard play down the near sideline as well. Great throw down the near sideline. In stride and everything. Gill just can't keep his feet. I don't know if he was going to score if he did keep his feet, but we'll never know because he didn't keep his feet. But McCord just made so many great throws. ACC single-season all-time leading passing leader. Everybody's going to point to the Pitt game where he had 5 interceptions, but post that Pitt game, I think he only had 1 pick the rest of the year. Like 34 touchdowns, 12 picks. Given what people were saying about him before the season started, and even last year where he was the reason that Ohio State was as not great as what they were, he was very limited in what they could do. They never reached their full potential with him at quarterback. Like that's what everybody was out there saying. And to go out and do what he did at Syracuse and end Miami's chance of going to the college football playoff on the last day of the regular season, that's great. Single season ACC single season passing yards leader. That's insane. I don't think a lot of people expected that going into the year when he transferred to Syracuse. I don't think a lot of people did. I didn't. And yet that's where he was. Then number 5, the guy who replaced him at Ohio State, Will Howard. And these are 2 quarterbacks that I'm very torn on in regards to who I think's better, who I think's worse. Worse is a strong word. Who's just better between the 2? I think they're both very good quarterbacks. Would they be this high if we were in the draft class of last year? No, not at all. But we're not in draft class last year. We're in this year. So you could say this is more of an indictment on the class in general. But, hey, what I'll say about Will Howard, much like Kyle McCord, and it must be an Ohio State thing, because Will Howard took a lot of shit this year. Took a lot of shit. And I remember Notre Dame fans tweeting out that the best thing Freeman did at Notre Dame was bring in Riley Leonard, not Will Howard. The same day Kyle McCord and Syracuse beat Miami, Will Howard threw 2 interceptions against Michigan, 20-point favorites, and lost. That was not great. Kyle McCord, even in the press conference, said what comes around goes around. So to have those types of moments where in the game against Oregon, the slide, the half-second early slide, or late slide, if he slides a half-second earlier, maybe Ohio State wins that game. Maybe we're looking at Will Howard's season completely differently. Maybe we're looking at, it's hard to look at Ohio State's season differently because they won the championship. But with all that shit going around, and to put performances like he did in the playoff against some great defenses. Tennessee, that's fine, but like in regards to how good their defense is, they're not necessarily known for defense, more for explosive plays on offense. Ohio State just beat the shit out of them. Like Marcus Freeman, before Notre Dame's game against Indiana, he said there's no such thing as a tough, cold guy or cold, tough guy. Tennessee tried to walk out in the horseshoe wearing no shirts, and you got your asses kicked. Nico tried to do the freaking silencer celebration in the end zone when you're down by 20 points at halftime. It was so stupid. He got blown out 42-17, and Will Howard made some great throws. His 21-yard pass out of the backfield to Trey Henderson. Great back shoulder throw. Safety's over top. You got to throw that thing back shoulder. You can't throw it on a line because their defender short as well. So you got that thing back shouldered. Great throw. 37-yard touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. Few plays later. Great ball. You're throwing this thing, like I think most people got this thing down, but I don't think some people understand how far of a throw, thrown from the near hash to the far numbers, 37 yards down the field, how hard of a throw that is to make. I don't care if it's Jeremiah Smith catching the ball. I really don't care. But that's a crazy throw to make. And he made it. Like, Will Howard's got a great arm. And he finded Mecca Buka for 40 yards. Nice little play fake in there. Defender coming in on his face. Ooh, change that. But is able to deliver a ball to Mecca Buka for a 40-yard gain. Again, doesn't matter defender's face. Tackle falls over and delivers a strike down the field. And Mecca Buka's got such great hand-eye coordination and field awareness to know where the ball is going to be, despite the defender having a hand blocking his eyes. Like, you pause the play when he catches the ball. He doesn't know. He can't see the ball. He can't. All he knows is that the defender is right there. The ball should be right here. And if the ball hits me right here, I'm going to catch it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the Oregon game as well. He did have an interception. Will Howard did in this game. It was 21-0. Have a chance to score again. It's a very unfortunate interception. Jeremiah Smith, not a great throw to begin with. There's a defender covering Jeremiah Smith, underthrows it, hits him in the back. In regards to the defender, hits the defender in the back. The ball pops up. Tennessee defender's able to come down with it. They called it an interception on the field, I believe. And it was just, it was an unfortunate interception. I think it's the best way I could describe it. Just an unfortunate ass interception. It's not one that you really want to have, but it happens. He had another great throw to Jeremiah Smith later in the game. Like, Will Howard can dot the ball. I think it's a little bit of an underrated aspect of his game. He can dot the ball if he needs to. There were times this year where he wasn't really asked to do that, but when he needs to, he can. You look at the game against Oregon. 319, 3 touchdowns. Number 1 team in the nation. Only undefeated team in the country. A lot of demons to exercise in this game. A whole lot of demons. Whether it's the loss in general or the slide or the hate he got after the slide, his passing touchdown to Mecca Buka when they're already up 7-0 was crazy. Crazy touchdown. 3 defenders in the area. Leads him perfectly. Mecca Buka's arm's getting hit as he's catching the ball. And he's still able to see the ball in. Dot. Absolute freaking dot. That's what you want to describe. That was just a freaking dot from Will Howard. Great ass throw. He hit Jeremiah Smith for a 32-yard gain down the near sideline. 3rd and 4. Great throw. Great catch. Great extension from Jeremiah Smith as well to get this ball. He'd have a very easy passing touchdown to Jeremiah Smith. And I think it's always funny when like the great receivers are wide open. I understand why he was open. He absolutely cooked the defender. It's single high safety. Jeremiah Smith's going to go up against single high safety. Good luck. Easy touchdown. You're going to get that 99 times out of 100. Like, it's going to happen almost every time unless he drops it. Like, that's the only way he doesn't score a touchdown here. But it still counts, 43-yard touchdown. He'll have another 16-yard completion. Jeremiah Smith roll it to the left, throw back to his right. Jeremiah Smith, great extension from Jeremiah Smith. This is what makes him so great. We're not here to talk about Jeremiah Smith. Great extension, going up and getting the ball and coming down with it inbounds. Will Howard just made some crazy throws throughout these two games. And then against Texas, who has, I believe, had the number one passing defense in the country. I could be wrong. I know they had the Jim Thorpe Award winner, Jody Barron, but I don't know overall. And they had a top 5 defense overall, but I don't know passing defense. They have the number one defense. So his numbers weren't that amazing, and he had 289 in passing yards, but 75 of those yards were on a screen pass that happened right before halftime, and he only had one touchdown, which came on said screen pass. So he didn't need to, he didn't register a shit ton of yards and a shit ton of passing touchdowns, but he still made big throws when he needed to. You look at the first drive of the game, or one of the first drives of the game, where I believe, I could be completely wrong when this was, because I don't have the play clock on the screen. But hitting Carnell Tate, or Emeka Egbuka, sorry. No, it was Carnell Tate. 14 yards, getting to the Texas side of the 50. Defender pops in. Will Howard was not expecting the defender to be there. He got caught way off guard by that. When he snapped the ball, defender presses up on the line of scrimmage. He draws back to pass, sees Carnell Tate, knows he's running the hitch, throws it. Guess what? Defender's dropping back in coverage now. Shit. Okay, we're going to have to throw this thing a little bit harder. So it's better to be lucky than good at times. And that's where it definitely benefited on that. But he would then come up with a big pass to Emeka Egbuka to get them down inside the 10-yard line. Again, first down, steps up in the pocket, defenders around him. Not like an insane amount of defenders, like it was a good pocket, good clean pocket for him. But Emeka Egbuka's got two Texas defenders around him, and he's still able to fit the ball in there to his receiver, throws it behind him, throws it more on him, makes him come back to the ball. Because if he throws it in front of him, it's not going to be a completed pass. But he puts enough on it and a little bit off of it to the behind him to complete the ball for a nice first down there. 14-yard gain as well to G. Scott Jr. Steps up in the pocket, defender coming around the outside. Almost hits his right arm, but he delivers a nice ball across the middle of the field. 3 Texas defenders in the area. Hits his tight end. Great throw. Great throw. Hit Emeka Egbuka again. Not hit Emeka Egbuka. Try to be hitting Emeka Egbuka. No, what the hell am I talking about? Try to hit Jeremiah Smith. Bad throw. This is a bad throw. It's a late throw. It's a bad throw. Whatever you want to use. Defender was in his face. Jumped up in his face right as he was releasing the ball. And yeah, it was a late throw. Bad throw. Defender's right in the way of Jeremiah Smith. There was a very rare chance it was getting completed, even if the defender wasn't there. If I'm being honest, because there might be a chance the defender comes over on top. I don't know. But it's just not a great throw. Not a great decision, not a great throw. Late throw, intercepted, whatever. And then you hit Carnell Tate for 18 yards. Great throw down the sideline. 14-14, 3rd and 8. Making those types of throws, you have to roll out a little bit. Texas sends a blitz. You got defenders coming around the edge. Slight holding, that didn't get called, but whatever. We don't worry about that. And he delivers a nice ball. So again, he didn't have the same numbers like he did against Tennessee or that he did against Oregon. He didn't have 3 touchdowns. He didn't have 300 yards. No. But he made big throws when he needed to. And I think that's the most important thing there. And then against Notre Dame, again, another top defense. I believe he set the national championship record for most consecutive completions. I could be wrong. And he had 2 passing touchdowns in this game as well. And they were good touchdowns. They were good passing touchdowns. But you look at this throw here. 15-yard pass to Carnell Tate. Get him over to the 50-yard line. Nice simple throw, fake handoff, steps back in the pocket, reads the defense. Good, nice soft throw, gets it over the outstretched arm of the defender. First down. Love to see that kind of stuff. Hit Brennan Innes for a 19-yard gain on an out route. That's just knowing where your receiver is and knowing what play was called in regards to this is where film study comes to play. You know what Notre Dame's doing. The receiver's running an out route. You know where they're not going to be. So you're kind of just hoping at that point, or just hoping that your studies have paid off enough for you to just hit that ball and you're gone. Like, defender's in his face, and he just knows the receiver's going to be there. Lobs it over there. Easy first down. 19-yard gain, wide open. But hey, again, it's about the preparation, knowing where he's going to be at that time. Then we have a touchdown to Quinshon Judkins from 6 yards out. Rolls out to the right. Gets the defender sucked in a little bit. Frees up Judkins in the back of the end zone. Just lobs it in there for an easy touchdown. And then at the end of the game, to ice it, 3rd and 11, after a few draw plays from Will Howard, he throws a dot to Jeremiah Smith. Again, like we talked about in the Oregon game, you put him one-on-one, I'm taking that every single time. Especially when the initial defender fell over, the help defender fell over, it's done. It's donezo after that. And Howard just, all he needs to do is not miss that throw, and he drills it. That's a big ballsy call to make right there, and he makes it. And he makes the throw, very catchable ball. Howard's rise in this playoff was truly impressive. And I think catalog of throws, if you're comparing him and Kyle McCord, I think it's very close. But I think from who they played, I'm going to take Howard. And I think, again, the situation you're in at that point in time, not just in your own situation, but the national media's perspective of you as well, I think is very big. And you can give the same thing to Kyle McCord about this season for what he was talking about last year. But Will Howard, throughout the course of this season, had to keep putting up with it and delivered when it mattered most for Ohio State. Made some big-time throws when he needed to. Picked up some big-time runs. You look at the Texas game, he had a 4th down conversion on a quarterback draw. Could have had a touchdown if he didn't trip over his own feet. He made plays when they needed to. And I think his running ability, I think, gives me a slight little edge over Kyle McCord as well. And the size, he's a little bit bigger than McCord. I think he has a little bit of stronger. McCord probably has a quicker release. McCord is a pretty, I don't even know how I would really describe it. An interesting throwing motion, I guess I would say. But I think McCord's great. McCord is great. But I think I would just take Howard in this one. It's close. But I think I would just take Will Howard in the battle of the now former Ohio State quarterbacks. Next one, again, another similar situation. 4 and 3 are pretty much the same. I don't know what to talk about with these two. Because number 4 is Jackson Dart, number 3 is Jalen Milroe. And I have toyed back and forth with this one more than I did Howard and McCord. Because if I'm looking at the bowl game itself, Dart washes. Because Jalen Milroe, given everything considered, had a pretty rough go of things against Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Had a pretty rough go of things. Only had 7 yards on the ground, which is not normal for him. And he had a big carry in that game as well. He had a 41-yard carry in that game, and he ended up with 7 yards total. He got hit a lot in this game. The monsoon didn't help anything either early in the game, which happened on his interception, which wasn't ideal. But to lose to Michigan in that way was not great. And Dart darted up Duke. 404, 4 touchdowns, 43 yards on the ground as well. It wasn't even freaking close. If we're comparing the bowl games themselves, it has to go to Dart, right? But I think from the catalog of stuff they did throughout the season, that's what's giving me the edge over with Milroe. And I think from a traits perspective, and maybe this is a stupid way to think about it, but from a traits perspective, I like the traits that Milroe has. I think Milroe's got a stronger arm than Jackson Dart. He's more mobile than Jackson. That's not saying Jackson Dart's not a great athlete. Jackson Dart is a fantastic athlete. But Milroe's got that top edge speed. And I think the throwing power, the arm strength, and the running ability, I think gives you that mold that you think you can build something there. And that can be a scary thing. Because why would I need to build somebody if I see what Jackson Dart's doing through the air? Jackson Dart threw for 4,200 yards this year. Jalen Milroe, by contrast, threw for 2,800. Jalen Milroe had 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Jackson Dart had 29 touchdowns, 6 picks. We're looking at from what they did now, it's clearly Dart. But from what I think they could become, and again, that's scary. It's a very scary thing to do, but I would take Jalen Milroe. And Jackson Dart, again, made some fantastic throws against Duke. This game was never close. Never close. Duke tried. They had their backup quarterback in. Henry Bellin was in. But Dart just made so many great throws. You look at the throw early in the game to Daquan Wright, 30-yard gain. Down the sideline, down the hash to get him to Duke 16. Look at his throw to Caden Priestcorn. Another 18 yards. Duke 32-yard line. Then you see Jackson Dart with his legs. 3rd and 19. And Jackson Dart's able to get to the outside and pick up a first down, diving forward to get the first. Not like Riley Leonard's dive against Georgia, but still, great effort there from Jackson Dart. And this is the thing that Jackson Dart, I think, is kind of funny. There's times this year, a few times, where Jackson Dart's getting hit, and he just tosses that sucker up. He just tosses it up. And ironically, he's been fairly successful at doing that this year. I would not recommend doing that long term, but he was very successful at doing that. I can think of 3 or 4 times off the top of my head where he did that this year. Pressure's in his face, and he just cocks back and launches it down the field. He doesn't know where this thing's going. He just puts it in the general direction of his receiver. Like talking about Will Howard, knowing where your receiver is going to be and throwing it to that spot and just hoping he comes down with the ball. That's the exact same thing here. He had a 22-yard gain to Daquan Wright down the far sideline, and he just got that thing up and threw it. He's on the ground when the receiver, or tight end in this case, makes the catch. Or receiver, I can't remember exactly. And he got lucky to make it. Duke defender could have made a play on it, but it didn't. And it ended up mattering in that case. And he hit Daquan Wright 21 yards out. Getting hit again. This is a great throw. That's a dot. Daquan Wright, beautiful throw the far front pylon from the near hash. Again, I don't think people understand how insane of a throw that is, or how hard of a throw that is to make, especially with the defender in his face. The right tackle did absolutely nothing. And Dart dots this thing. Absolutely dots it. And you see it later in the game, 31-7, rolling out to the left, hitting freaking Jordan Watkins for a 51-yard gain. The Zach Wilson throw. Everybody talks about it. The Zach Wilson throw. That was this throw in game. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful throw. Like Jackson Dart made so many great throws. Even his throw to second and 23, 45-14. Getting Watkins, again, 69-yard touchdown. Watkins does a lot of the work after the catch, but this is what we talk about again, finding that gap in the defense. Corners a little bit further up, safety's back, you got to find that window. He found the window, hit Watkins, touchdown. Like Jackson Dart made so many amazing throws throughout the season, and he has the potential to make so many ridiculous throws. He does. Like, and he's an absolute gamer as well. Like, there was a couple games, which game was it? I don't remember which one it was. He tried to lower his shoulder into one of the defenders of whoever they were playing. Again, I can't remember who it was. I remember writing this. It was like, you know what? Let's not do that. Jackson, can we please not do that? I want you to stay upright. I'm not even an Ole Miss fan. I want you to stay upright. So don't do that anymore. And for Jalen Milroe, he's built like a freaking running back. Like, he's 6'2", 220. I mean, big running back. But he's a big dude. He can run people over, and he's so smart at reading blocks. And when he's done reading the block, he guts through a hole, and he's gone. It's a 20-yard gain at least. He puts his hand on the back of the running back, follows him through the hole, navigates, and then is gone. And then when everything's clicking in the pass game, he can dot it all over the field. The question is, how consistent is that? In the latter part of the season, we didn't really see that consistency from Milroe, especially in that game against Oklahoma. Was not great. In this game against Michigan, I'm going to put a lot of it down to the monsoon early because that interception was very unfortunate from him. But it just freaking sailed on him. The defender didn't even have gloves on when he made the interception. Like, that's what kind of interception we had here. He didn't even have gloves on for that. But again, when everything's clicking for Milroe, and if he's put in the right situation, there's no doubt he can be an absolute stud at the next level. But we're playing with ifs, buts, and maybes at this point. So that's where you get the little conversation between him and Jackson Dart. That's where the conversation lies. Like, Jackson Dart, I think, has got a really good ceiling as well. But I think Milroe's traits make him a higher prospect, if that makes sense. Like, his arm is better. He's more athletic than him. He's bigger than him. His hands aren't very big. I don't know if you saw his hand size at the Senior Bowl. Not very big. But he can make so many plays for you. And I want to see how that grows to the next level. It's a toss-up between him and Dart. I can go either way. McCord versus Howard, I'm more towards Howard. I'm like 60-40. Milroe versus Dart, it's 51-41. 51-49, sorry. That's how I would do that. And then number 2 is Shedeur Sanders. Not a great bowl game. 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Got absolutely blown out by BYU in the Alamo Bowl. 1 interception was not ideal. I mean, he just popped up in the air. Hit the defender, popped up, or hit the receiver, sorry. Popped up in the air. Defender made a very nice one-handed low grab. Made a couple nice throws to Travis Hunter throughout the game as well. Had a very nice throw to Johnny Wester down the middle of the field, in between 2 defenders, to get them down to, I think, the 1-yard line. They would score from that. His second interception was not great either. They got a call for a holding call, I believe, as well in this play. Yeah, very egregious holding call. Just a bad throw. It's just not a great game for Shedeur Sanders, and that's not where you really want to see for your final game of college football, but BYU's a good team, so not really much to like sit back and completely tarnish, but he's been number 2 all year. He's going to stay number 2. Yeah, there's not really more to discuss on that. Cam Ward's still number 1. Played only a half against Iowa State. Broke the all-time combined passing touchdown record between FCS and FBS at 158 passing touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in this game. 190 yards passing. If he stays in, they win this game. But again, ifs, buts, and maybes. Cam Ward made a lot of really solid plays in just a half that he did against Iowa State. And obviously, as a fan, you want to see him play more. You want to see the best players play against the best longer. You don't want to see him sit out a half. I understand completely why he played a half. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, we saw the same. We've seen it before. Like, the people talk about like breaking the record and sit out at halftime like some unprecedented thing. Malik Neighbors did it last year for LSU. He did the exact same thing. Broke the receiving record and then sat out. Like, cool. You did your thing. You helped your teammates out in that spot. Now you get a chance to see your teammates finish out the game. And it was like, well, maybe you can see the starter for next year go in and make some plays, but now it's Carson Beck. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But Cam Ward, yeah. The dude's got a great arm. He's great off-platform thrower. He can make so many plays. He's not like a superstar athlete in regards to like Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. But when he needs to make a play with his legs, he can more than do that. He's more than enough effective to make plays on the ground. More than enough. He's got a very strong arm. He's very smart where he puts the ball. The only time it gets scary is when he tries to play hero ball. And that's got to get coached out of him because that's too much. Hero ball never works. It never works. Like there's 2 times this year I can think of off the top of my head, Duke and Cal, where he rolled out, threw it completely across his body and got picked off. Cal, he got a pick 6 on. Duke, he didn't get that. But those types of plays need to get coached out of him for the next level. But he's clearly, in my opinion, the number 1 quarterback in this class. I love him. I like him a lot as a prospect. I don't know if I would take him as like I don't know. Again, if buts and maybes for each class. But that is the top 10 quarterbacks for the final 2025 quarterback prospect rankings. And again, we're going to have rankings throughout the rest of the offseason. We're going to have prospect rankings in total. But that's the last blog post for the quarterback rankings. So make sure to check that out on the LoganBlackmanShow.com. Again, the top 10, Riley Leonard at 10, Curtis Rourke 9, Dylan Gabriel at 8, Quinn Ewers at number 7, Kyle McCord 6, Will Howard at 5, 4 and 3, rotate them however you want, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, number 2, Shedeur Sanders, number 1, Cam Ward from Miami. Draft can't get here soon enough, if I'm being honest with you.